Hello everyone, DonTheCrown here, and I want to talk about what I think is the most overpowered character right now in Duet Night Abyss. Now, I started off playing, pretty much playing Barry right off the bat, but then I've been messing around with a whole bunch of different other characters, and pretty much Twitch chat was telling me that I had to check out Rebecca. She has insane AoE clear, and she is quite good. However, I do think that there is another character that kind of puts her to shame. Now, if you don't know who Rebecca is, she's one of the characters that you kind of start off with. She's like water caster that drops down these little summons, and these summons can like pulse for damage, and they basically just like kill everything for you. You can have 3 of them up at a time. You can buff up their area, buff up their attack speed, and you're just pretty much making sure that they're alive, and you're just like sitting back reading a book while you're killing stuff. This is pretty good, except for you do have to position these things in particular spots, and like it's just, it's kind of a pain in the butt to do that. This character that I think is more powerful is Lynn. My Twitch chat also recommended me this, and yeah, it is really ridiculous character. Let's just go through what her skills are, and I'll talk about why she's super ridiculous. So the first thing we have is our passive Tactical Rapid Fire. When she's not shooting, she stacks up a buff, and this buff, pretty much you can see it on your character bar here.
Let's go.
I'll just put her active right below the feet there. It fills up over time. This gives you a nice burst of damage when it's time to actually start fighting something, which is nice for if you're doing a boss or something, or just like starting a defense mission or something. Very, very powerful. Her second thing here, Deadly Blossom, her E ability, pretty much marks enemy with a debuff. The hit itself does an insane amount of damage. Right now I have it at 805% weapon damage, and so in missions where you need to kill a little cluster of enemies, this just knocks them all down super fast, which is nice. And then you can stack up these stacks of laceration up to 10, and then from just hitting them with ranged attacks, and that'll give you like a 2000 plus damage buff, like burst basically off of them, which is very nice. But these two things aren't the reason that this character is super broken, and that is because of Gunpowder Revelry, our buff or ultimate skill. What this does is switches you out to Hansel and Gretel, which are special consonant weapons, and in this state you can shoot and use skills, but you can only move using your E skill. And then when you shoot, you deal damage to all enemies in front of you, which pretty much wherever your camera is focused, you're gonna hit everything you see. It's like playing Reaper combined with Soldier 76 and McCree all together at the same time. You also get a stacking attack speed buff, and this does drain your whole sanity down, and it has a base sanity cost and a sanity cost per second. And this is just absolutely freaking crazy. I just pop it off, and everything that's in that direction just dies. Just takes a ton of damage. Well, let's just go show you what a mission looks like here. Let's go and do a defense, because these look pretty good for these types of things. And I think the defense is just really funny because you just kind of sit in one spot like a turret, and yeah, just knock everything down. Now for weapons, I'm using 2 weapons that give me skill damage. We don't really care too much about our wedges in our weapon unless we don't have our sanity building up. And one of the things I'm not 100% perfect on yet is getting the sanity perfect. I think I need to get a whole bunch more sanity reducing cost wedges going, but that's something I'm probably gonna be farming for tomorrow. Right now we're up to like a level 51 on the whole like account level thing. So enemies coming in, I'm just gonna pop my Q, and everything dies. And you can just pretty much sit here and spam it off, and it's just be absolutely crazy. Enemies come in, enemies die. And it's really just this simple. There's a whole wave. That was it. And so unlike with Rebecca, you don't necessarily need to run around placing your minions. Unlike other like melee characters, you don't have to like run around attacking things. You can just sit on the point and basically just rain down hell on the enemies. And you see these are level 60. I'm level 60. I am pretty geared at the moment for my level, but I'm not like super maxed out yet. We don't have like the orange wedges or anything like that. Now, one thing to note is that you do want to make sure that when you're killing stuff so far away, that you're actually looting everything. Because there'll be like some stuff on the ground over here. And you kind of want to like run through it occasionally, especially like on a longer mission. So you're making sure that you're picking up everything. And this also does pretty good single target damage, especially if you use your E to mark enemies. You know, they just kind of get knocked down as well. Your E also can move yourself, but sometimes it gets bugged. I recommend just like kind of aiming up in order to get out of there. And yeah, that's pretty much how she works. Lynn is really, really crazy. Let's go over some of the gear setup here real quick. Like I said, this is not perfect. This is not end game. We're just kind of like getting into the end game at this point. But pretty much what you're looking for is just getting like character attack. And I don't think crit is maybe really all that good for us right now, but getting character attack and also going and getting like sanity affecting things.
Who's the target today?
So first off here, I'm using Wayne Wraith. This is just a staff or whatever that you Reaper that you get right off the bat. Yes, I know that she does get more damage from using a greatsword. However, we really want this skill damage because this kind of acts as a multiplier here. So if we go to our character sheet, we can see skill damage. This is like a separate thing. And so that's a lot more impactful than having a little bit more attack power. So we're going to get that from a lot of other places. For our ranged weapons, I'm using X-Crest Duo. You don't unlock these until 51. And I pretty much just stayed up 20 hours today to unlock these and farm them out. They give you skill damage, which is really nice. They're also dual pistols, which I believe gives you additional attack power as well. And I'll show you the wedges on both of these real quick. I haven't really put very much into this. I just have plunging attack speed. I don't believe that this works at all. Oh, this is like my running setup. So like plunging attack is something you should be doing if you're moving around. Make sure you like get to places very, very quickly. But I don't believe that this wedge actually does anything right now. So you probably don't really get that. I also have movement speed if I kill an enemy with my melee weapon. I don't really kill enemies with my melee weapon anyways, but just in case. And then, you know, just other stuff here. For the most part, this is just a stat stick that I don't really care about the wedges at. You could literally just leave this blank and you'd be fine. These stats, when you get like attack and stuff, this affects this weapon's damage. And we're pretty much never going to really attack with our melee, ideally. So there's that. For our ranged weapon, I really also haven't messed around with this too much. Just like looking for things that are like attack, you know, maybe some crit chance and crit damage. And yeah, that's pretty much it for now. Now, the real moneymaker here are our Hansel and Gretel. As you can tell, I haven't gone and finished out getting all of these, but we have attack speed, we have attack, and we have spike attack. This is pretty big because this particular thing is a multiplier. So we see we go from 881 to 503. So getting this is very sneaky important. And you get these from the shop that is associated with the event called Mystic Maze. So you go to Mystic Maze here, and in the shop Spindle of Fate, you're just going to RC or ranged character demon wedges, and you're looking for the ones that are in here. So we're going to pick up attack speed. We picked up attack and penetration over here for spike attack, and then probably going to go for crit chance maybe, or not really sure. Probably multi-shot actually. I think multi-shot is just a raw multiplier here compared to like critical strike chance, which I need to get more crit somehow into the build. We'll figure that out. Probably more of a late game type of thing. And so yeah, those are pretty much these wedges for that. But what we're going to look up next is the wedges for her. So in the middle, you can really put any of these like little snake things. You want to level them up. The reason you want to use these is because when you put these in, these actually raise the amount of tolerance you have, which is like the amount of space you have in your character. And then I'm using Ifrit's Devouring Wildfire. This makes it so that we get skill damage. We also get, when a pyro character deals damage, it gains 1 stack that increases attack by 1% for 15 seconds, up to 120 times. Yeah, this just gets stacked up super fast because you're hitting a ton of enemies, and you're just getting 120% more attack, which is just absolutely wild. If you notice, I have gone and adjusted the slot here. So this is a circle slot now, which means that this costs half as much to socket here. I'm also using Typhoon's Prime Serenity. This restores sanity to myself and my teammates. And so you can run this pretty much on all of your characters that you're running to give yourself a little more sanity regen. Also gives you attack, HP, defense. It's pretty solid. The other option here would probably be uplift, which gives you the opportunity, I believe you level this all the way up, to 11% increased damage for you and your team. I believe that is just a raw multiplier, so it is also pretty solid. And you pretty much can't use any of these prime ones with that as well. And so you kind of have to like pick which one is going to work the best for you. I'm also using Griffin's Inferno, pyro attack, skill damage, skill range, more attack with skill duration. I need to actually level this one up, but our tolerance would not allow me to fit that in. Maybe I'll go and adjust the slot track to fit some more of these guys in. We also have the inspo. I'm not really sure what that's supposed to be, but attack and skill efficacy. Skill efficacy is really important. This reduces the cost of using your skills. It's very, very powerful for us. And so this allows us to stay in our gun shooting mode for longer. And realistically, you could stack these up because once it's upgraded to 5, you get multiple wedges all over the place. And then I have a maximum sanity in here for now. I will probably replace this with something else. I don't think that maximum sanity is really all that important. Now, the ideal partners for this character, I believe, are going to be, first off, Hellfire. Hellfire is really, really strong, but the reason you want to bring her along is because A, she'll just gather up any enemies and put them all on top of her, and then you can just shoot at them, which are really nice. But then she also will give you an attack buff of 40% here for all pyro characters, which is very nice. And also, I don't know if this taunt damage increase applies for your allies as well. That's kind of nice as well. The other thing, the other person I would run with is somebody that I actually didn't even like really look at twice when I first unlocked her, which is Margie. And I think that Margie is actually low-key OP, especially if you're just going to run her as a support. And the reason she's super strong is because her passive. So whenever the user or nearby allies pick up loot, the user gains 1 stack of jackpot, which lasts for the rest of the battle. So picking up any loot gives you this stack, and it goes up to 20 times and increases our skill damage by 30.6. So that is like basically 60% skill damage. Pretty solid. And if that was it, this would be still a pretty good character. The next thing she's going to give us is gives you an attack increase to other allies. And this is 45% attack boost. So we're getting like 60 and 45, which is pretty strong. And then lastly, we get another attack boost for self and allies when she's a combat partner. I need to go unlock this probably tomorrow when I wake up. So another 40%. So as you can see, she is absolutely just blasting and popping off with tons of things here. And like if you're playing with friends, she's also a pretty cool character to play because you can actually use your E skill here to stun enemies repeatedly. Just kind of lock them down and you just gun all of them down. Just very, very powerful combo. Now, the other character, if you don't have Hellfire unlocked, like me, I got unlucky with my weekly pulls. I only got 20 out of 30. And what I would recommend going and doing is instead probably running Daphne. Daphne is pretty cool because she's going to give you heals. If you're standing still shooting at the boss, you know, sometimes your shield is going to get broken. So having somebody who can heal you up is nice. But you can also go and get a 40% crit chance bonus here, which is solid as well. But really you could pair her with basically, you could pair almost anybody else in there if you really want. There's a lot of different characters that give, you know, nice bonuses, or just like maybe like be a little bit better at single target. But realistically, like as soon as I started really leaning into this character, things just got really stinking easy. I basically was blowing up bosses. I did like all my different raids on her compared to, you know, leaning into Barry, who I put all my resources into before. Barry had a slower time on some of the bosses compared to Lynn, and Lynn's just sitting there going crazy and just shooting everything. And so yeah, it'd be pretty popping to get this going. I'm very excited about the Intron stuff as well. You have to basically get duplicates of her thoughts here as well, but basically this makes it so that whenever battle starts, you get increased morale, which gives you more damage. It's like a multiplier for, you know, being full health, which you should be since nothing should get to you, for 60 seconds. For a lot of missions, that's pretty much just going to give you 35% more damage all of the time. You know, missions might not even last a minute. Then during your ultimate, you take 30% less damage, and it makes it so your attack speed buff builds up quicker. Very stinking solid. Then we're getting more levels to Deadly Bloom, more levels to Tactical Rapid Fire. So those are like non-ultimate skills. We're also next up getting increased damage dealt to enemies that have HP lower than 70% by 35% damage. So this is just a like generic damage boost to all enemies that are not getting one shot by you. It's pretty much going to knock them down to below 70%, I would assume, which is pretty nice. And then level 5, we get more levels to our ultimate, more levels to our passive. And then lastly, during our ultimate, when triggering the bonus effect using Hans and Gretel, pretty much when you hit enemies and you have a proc, which is pretty common, it inflicts laceration on the target. And if you remember, laceration is the thing from our primary skill that pretty much does a ton of damage here. So you're pretty much just going to have that up permanently, and it just pops off because this here makes it so that whenever you know, laceration wound count gets capped, you're just going to explode it off for 2,600% or more damage once you scaled up. So this character is just maybe a little bit broken right now. Very, very strong in terms of damage, very, very strong in terms of clear. Single target is solid. Pretty much her only weakness is she has to stand still, but with the amount of damage she can dish out, that's kind of not an issue. Now you can also, if you are in the stance, by the way, you can just press Q again to, you know, be able to move again like normal. And then, you know, it comes back off cooldown pretty quick. You can use your E to move around as well. But if you're like holding down the attack and pressing E, a lot of times you won't move, which is kind of nice as well. But that like E attack does a lot of damage as well. And so weaving that in with sanity being high, you pretty much will do even more damage to single targets. Hopefully this video helped you out. I plan on doing a video talking about how to level up quickly. I know a lot of people have been asking about this. We got up to level 51 today, and this has been a lot of fun. Hopefully you guys are having a good one. We'll see you again soon, and come by the stream.